Right, so buckle up, everybody, because today we're diving into a story. It's going to send shivers down your spine. I guarantee it.
Ooh. Okay, lay it on me. I'm ready.
It all starts with a wedding. Nigeria, to be exact.
Yeah.
And this story, well, it is inspired by a true story, believe it or not.
No way.
Yeah. And it's been beautifully told over on YouTube by Tales by Grandpa.
Oh, I've heard of that channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. They tell some pretty creepy stories.
This one's a doozy. So big shout out to Grandpa, by the way, this storyteller extraordinaire.
Yeah.
This story is about a wedding gift.
Okay.
That ends up being anything but a blessing.
Uh-oh. I have a feeling this isn't going to be about, like, a mismatched set of towels.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
So picture this. Our happy couple, Ruth and Henry, they're newlyweds, right? Surrounded by gifts, starting their lives together.
Okay.
Pretty standard wedding stuff, right? You've got your toasters, your fancy dishes, all that.
Yeah.
But then there's this one gift. It's beautifully wrapped.
Okay.
No card.
Yeah.
No name. Just mystery.
Ooh, mysterious.
And immediately, like Henry, the groom, he's got this weird feeling about it.
Bad vibes.
But Ruth, she's the opposite. She's like, ooh, a mystery gift. Let's open it.
Yeah, some people love that, right?
So she's all excited. So she unwraps it, and inside, there's this gorgeous mirror, like antique-looking, ornate gold frame.
Fancy.
Yeah, beautiful piece. And Ruth, she's thrilled. She decides right then and there, it's going up in their bedroom.
Already I'm getting a little nervous.
Yeah, Henry's not a fan, like, at all. He tries to tell her he has a bad feeling about it.
Right.
But Ruth, she kind of dismisses it. You know how it is sometimes.
Totally. Like when you're caught up in the moment, that excitement of something new.
Exactly. So up goes the mirror on the bedroom wall.
Here we go.
And wouldn't you know it, that's when things start getting strange.
Strange how, like, immediately.
Not right away. It's subtle at first.
Okay.
Like she's noticing shadows in the room, like they're shifting.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. Weird noises at night. Just like little things, but enough to create this unsettling feeling in the house.
Yeah, like something's off.
But then things escalate. Ruth starts waking up feeling like she had been intimate with Henry.
Whoa.
But he was asleep the entire time.
Okay, that's definitely not subtle anymore.
And obviously this starts creating some serious tension between them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because Henry, he's completely bewildered. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And Ruth, she starts to doubt him. And you can see how this like external force, this thing, whatever it is, it's starting to drive a wedge right between them.
So creepy. And it sounds like things are just getting started.
Oh, yeah. Around this time, Ruth's younger stepsister, Ella, comes to live with them.
Another person in the mix.
And wouldn't you know it, things really start to spiral from there.
In what way?
Over the next few months, Ruth gets pregnant. Several times, actually.
Oh, wow.
But every single time, she ends up losing the baby.
Oh, no. That's heartbreaking.
Each pregnancy ends in a miscarriage. And each time it happens, it's this terrifying, like, almost ritualistic experience.
What do you mean? Like, is there something unusual about these miscarriages?
Yeah. Like, each time, Ruth would feel this presence in the room.
Ugh. I'm getting chills.
Like something heavy, almost like someone was right there with her.
So scary.
But she'd be too weak to wake up fully. And then she'd come to, and she'd be covered in blood. The baby, gone.
Oh, that's just awful. I mean, it's horrible enough to experience one miscarriage, let alone multiple. And with those added circumstances, I can't even imagine the emotional toll that took on her.
Oh, it was devastating. And the strain on her marriage to Henry, it was just unbearable.
Yeah, with something like that going on, it's easy to see how suspicion and distrust would fester.
She accused him of being responsible, but he was completely lost, heartbroken. He had no idea what was happening or how to help.
So they're both trapped in this nightmare, each grieving in their own way and unable to comfort each other. Did they ever, like, try to get help?
They did eventually. I mean, out of desperation, really.
Yeah.
Ruth turned to her stepmother, Mrs. Agnes.
Yeah.
Looking for support.
Right.
And Mrs. Agnes, well, she presents herself as this loving, concerned figure, right?
Okay.
She suggests that they go see a prophetess, someone known for dealing with, supernatural stuff.
Wow, so they're really going outside the realm of conventional medicine at this point.
Yeah, they're desperate. So they go to this prophetess, and she performs this, like, intense all-night prayer ritual.
Intense in what way?
Physically and emotionally draining for Ruth. It really shows you how desperate they were at this point. Like, they were willing to do anything.
So did it work? Did anything change after the ritual?
Well, for a while, things did seem to improve. Ruth got pregnant again.
Okay.
And this time, the pregnancy was normal. Like, it progressed without any problems.
Wow.
They were cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, after everything they'd been through, it's hard to let yourself hope.
Henry, he even threw this big party when Ruth reached 5 months. But you could still sense this underlying tension.
Yeah, like holding their breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Exactly. Like, it was all too good to be true,
Yeah.
and tragically, it was.
No. What happened?
That very night, the same night as the party,
Ugh, the irony.
the entity, whatever it was, it returned.
No.
Same horrifying experience.
Oh, it's just relentless.
And the baby was lost. Again.
I feel so terrible for them.
The devastation this time, it was just palpable.
Mhm.
Ruth was crushed. Henry was withdrawing.
Yeah, understandable. How do you even begin to cope with that kind of repeated trauma?
You can't blame him for pulling away.
Yeah.
He couldn't deal with the accusations, the grief, the helplessness of it all. Their marriage, it completely fell apart.
That's just heart-wrenching. I mean, they were both victims in this situation, but the trauma just drove them apart.
And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, Ella, the stepsister, she announces that she's pregnant.
Oh, no, you're kidding.
And Henry's the father.
Hold on, what? This changes everything. I mean, it calls into question everything we thought we knew about their relationships, their motivations. Wow.
Right in the middle of this already chaotic, heartbreaking situation, this is the bombshell that drops.
So what happened next? How did Ruth react to this news?
She was devastated, completely betrayed, not just by her husband, but by the stepsister she welcomed into her home.
And what about Henry? How did he respond?
Well, in the midst of all this, Mrs. Agnes, the ever-so-helpful stepmother, steps in
Oh, I bet she did. I have a feeling helpful might not be the right word here.
to manage the situation.
Oh, boy. I can only imagine what that means.
Her solution, a hasty marriage, of course.
Of course. So she's pushing Henry and Ella into marriage, trying to sweep everything under the rug, huh?
Exactly, all to, save face, maintain the family's reputation. But remember that mirror.
How could I forget that creepy, ominous mirror?
Well, it's at Henry and Ella's wedding celebration that things really start to unravel.
Okay, now I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens with the mirror?
Picture this. It's the party. One of Ella's friends, she makes a comment about the mirror.
Uh-oh.
Something like, oh, that's not really your style, is it? Like joking around.
Right.
But as she's saying it, she accidentally knocks the mirror off the wall,
Oh, no.
and it shatters
I
into a million pieces.
knew it. Breaking a mirror, there's got to be some bad juju associated with that, especially with all the weirdness surrounding this particular mirror.
Oh, yeah, because what happens next is just, like, bone-chilling.
Okay, what happens?
Ella's mother, the one who is always so composed, so in control, she just completely loses it.
What do you mean? Like a meltdown?
Full-on meltdown. Screaming, wailing, saying things like, it's over, my life is ruined.
That's an extreme reaction to a broken mirror. I think it's safe to say there's more to this than meets the eye.
Oh, yeah, because she breaks down and confesses everything.
Everything. Like what?
She admits that she gave Ruth the mirror as a wedding gift.
Okay, so not exactly a loving gesture, I'm guessing?
Nope. Pure spite. She wanted to see Ruth suffer, to control her, to make sure she never experienced true happiness.
Wow. The stepmother, the seemingly supportive figure, was the mastermind behind all this misery. Unbelievable.
And get this. She reveals that the mirror was, like, a magical object.
A magical object. Seriously.
Yeah, it was given to her by a native doctor. She and Ella used it to, like, spy on Ruth, cast spells to cause the miscarriages, even manipulate Henry's feelings.
This is insane. It's like a real-life fairy tale gone wrong. But it sounds like breaking the mirror, it'd break whatever spell is on it, but maybe unleash something else.
Because as soon as she confesses, Ella's mother, she goes completely mad.
Oh, wow.
Like, genuinely insane. Runs out of the house, disappears, never seen again.
Talk about karma. Wow. But what about Ella and Henry? Where do they fit into all of this after the truth comes out?
Well, about that pregnancy,
Yeah.
turns out there's another layer of deception.
Yeah?
Henry's gate man, he comes forward, terrified,
Uh-oh.
admits that he's the real father.
No way.
He and Ella were having an affair.
So Ella basically tricked Henry into thinking he was the father.
Exactly. She was desperate to secure her future.
It's amazing how this story just keeps getting more and more twisted. So what happens to Henry after all this is revealed?
He's shattered.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Realizes the extent of the manipulation, the pain he caused Ruth.
Oh, man. He was a victim, too, in a way.
He was. And he knows it.
Hmm.
So he goes straight to Ruth, confesses everything, begs her forgiveness.
That's got to be tough. So what does Ruth do? Does she forgive him?
She does.
Wow.
It wasn't easy, but she sees how much she regrets everything.
I guess they both learned a hard lesson about trust.
They did. And they decide to start over,
Wow.
rebuild their relationship. But Ella, her mother, the gate man,
Yeah, what happened to them?
vanished. Like they just disappeared into thin air.
Wow. So Ruth and Henry are left to rebuild their lives, free from the people who caused so much pain.
Exactly. They end up moving to America,
Mm.
starting fresh.
And what about, like, the mirror's curse? Did that follow them?
It seems like it was broken when the mirror shattered.
That good.
They eventually have healthy twin babies. It's like a new chapter, free from the shadows of the past.
What a story. Betrayal, magic, and ultimately a chance at a new beginning.
It really makes you think about the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface and about the power of forgiveness.
It does. So much to unpack here.
There is.
Are you ready to dive deeper into the reflection of this story?
Absolutely. I think there's some valuable lessons we can all learn from Ruth and Henry's experience.
You know, it's fascinating how this story, even though it's rooted in Nigerian culture, it really taps into these universal fears and themes that we see across so many different cultures and stories.
Yeah, for sure. Like the whole idea of a cursed object, that's not unique to Nigeria. It's everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, haunted houses, cursed artifacts, it's like this primal fear of something that looks innocent but harbors this dark energy, you know?
Totally. Like you think about stories like the monkey's paw, right?
Oh, yeah, classic example.
Seemingly harmless object, but it brings about all this misfortune.
And it's not just about the objects themselves, it's that deeper theme of unintended consequences, you know, like tampering with forces beyond our understanding.
Exactly. Like in this story, was the mirror itself evil? Or was it just reflecting the bad intentions of the people using it?
That's a great question. I think it's more about the people, their jealousy and ambition, using this object as a tool for their own twisted desires.
So the mirror was like an amplifier for their darkness.
Exactly. And it makes you think about the mirrors in our own lives,
Hmm.
right? The people and influences that can either bring out the best in us or distort who we are.
Ooh, that's deep.
And that's really the moral of the story, I think. It's about the destructive power of jealousy, unchecked ambition. Ella's mother, she was so consumed by her desire to see Ruth suffer that she ended up causing her own downfall.
Classic case of hurt people hurt people.
Oh,
But like, this story isn't just some fantastical tale.
definitely not.
There are real-world implications here, especially when you consider the manipulation and gaslighting.
Absolutely. I mean, think about how Ruth was constantly being undermined, made to doubt her own reality.
Yeah. It's scary how subtle those tactics can be, like gradually eroding someone's trust and self-worth.
It's insidious. And it's why it's so important to be aware of the red flags. You know, trust your gut if something feels off in a relationship.
100%.
Is someone always putting you down, making you question yourself? Are they trying to isolate you from your support network? Those are big warning signs.
It's all about knowing your worth, setting boundaries, not letting anyone treat you with disrespect.
Exactly. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel manipulated or unsafe, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Talk to someone you trust, a friend, family member, or a professional.
It can be hard to admit you need help, but sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do.
Absolutely. And I think this deep dive has been a great reminder that even in the darkest of situations, even when faced with the worst of human nature, we still have the power to choose love, to rebuild, and to find joy.
We do. And I think it's a testament to the strength of the human spirit that Ruth and Henry were able to find their way back to each other and create a new beginning for themselves.
Absolutely. It's inspiring, really. So for anyone who wants to experience the full impact of this story, be sure to check out the Tales by Grandpa video. We'll link it in the description.
Yeah, Grandpa is an amazing storyteller. But before we wrap things up, I think it would be helpful to leave our listeners with some practical takeaways, like a to-do list for protecting yourself from those mirrors in your own life.
Great idea. So first and foremost, trust your gut instinct. If something feels off in a relationship, don't ignore it.
Pay attention to those red flags.
Number 2, set healthy boundaries. You're not obligated to put up with anyone's negativity or mistreatment.
Protect yourself.
And finally, number 3, if you ever feel trapped or unsafe in a situation, don't hesitate to reach out for help. There are people who care and want to support you.
This deep dive has been intense, but I think it's also been incredibly eye-opening.
I agree. It's been a powerful exploration of human nature, the darkness and the light.
And a reminder that we all have the capacity for both. So choose wisely, folks.
Choose wisely.
You know, through all this talk about Ruth and Henry and the mirror and everything, I keep thinking about Ella.
Hmm.
Like, was she really just a pawn in her mother's game? Or was she, like, more actively involved in all the scheming than we realized?
It's a really good question. I mean, think about the environment she grew up in.
Yeah.
Manipulation, deceit, that was normal for her. Her mother's jealousy, it probably warped her whole worldview.
So maybe she learned those behaviors, like it was the only way she knew how to survive.
Right, but then again, she still made the choice to go along with it, to hurt her stepsister.
It's tricky. Like, yeah, she was influenced by her mom, but she still had agency, and
Mm.
she chose to be deceitful.
It highlights this cycle, right? Hurt people, hurting people.
It's sad. But even in that cycle, there's a choice, and Ella made hers.
Exactly. And it shows us how important it is to recognize those patterns, to break the cycle, to choose a different path, one based on empathy and kindness.
Like Ruth and Henry did.
Yeah.
They went through hell and back,
Yeah.
but they still found their way back to each other. It's incredible, their strength, their forgiveness.
It gives me hope. It reminds me that even after experiencing the worst, we can still choose love, we can heal, we can find joy again.
I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole deep dive.
Yeah.
Like, what do we want our listeners to remember? What's the most important message here?
I'd say be mindful of the mirrors in your own life, the people you surround yourself with, the things that influence you.
Makes sense.
Choose those who reflect your values, who help you grow, who inspire you to be your best self.
That's great advice. And to everyone listening, remember to trust your gut, set
Yep.
those boundaries,
Yeah.
and never, ever underestimate the power of forgiveness.
Well said.
It's been an intense journey, this deep dive,
It has.
but a powerful one, I think. So until next time, folks, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.